We're here at our Hag Wood Woodland and mine water treatment facility, although there's not an awful lot we have to do on mine water treatment apart from nature take its course. So behind me you'll see this orange blanket, and that's where there's an upwelling of mine water. So when coal is mined, the water's pumped out so the miners can work underground, but when the mine closes, the pumps go off and mine water rises, and that might pop out of a known mine entry, or in this case an unknown entry, which could have been a borehole or an unmarked shaft. And that's where we have to take it and protect our water courses through stopping the iron from getting in there, turning them orange, and affecting the wildlife in the water courses. So on this one, you can see the mine water comes out of the ground. It flows across this apron with this iron ochre that's been deposited, which is very sticky. So once you get iron ochre down, then more will deposit on it, and it builds up and builds up. And once it hits the water course, most of the iron's been taken out, and we have relatively clean water going through the woodland and further down. So we bought this woodland back in 2004 with a mind to protect the environment and use it for mine water treatment. We've also got a field at the back where we were looking to potentially put a new mine water treatment scheme, a more formal one. But through monitoring and observing what was happening naturally, we realised we didn't have to do anything. What we have done here in the woodland, though, is it was originally commercially planted with evergreen coniferous commercial crop, and this has all been taken out, and as you can see behind us, there's lots of little tree posts where we've planted new broadleaf species. So we've got mine water treatment, and we've also got nature recovery, regeneration of ancient woodland. So it's a great example of nature working in harmony with us to clean up what's happened in the past, and then us to give nature a hand to get back to the state it was in originally.
The crop here, because originally it's a crop plantation of conifers, was mature and ready to be harvested, and we thought it would be a good idea to harvest the wood and then replace it with native species to bring about some benefit for nature. Before we did the clearance of all the commercial forestry, we did a baseline survey to find out what was here, and also to find out if there were any indicator species that this was previously an ancient woodland site, because a couple of miles upstream there's a site that's managed by Durham Wildlife Trust that's called Edmondsley Wood, which is an previous ancient woodland site. So we thought this might be another remnant of ancient woodland in the landscape. And when we came and did the floristic survey, yep, sure enough, we found a few samples of plants that indicate that this was once an ancient piece of woodland. So now that we've cleared everything, we've come back again and we're having a look to see how many more indicator species we can find. And that's what I've been doing today. And just to see how it's developing now that there's much more light coming into the woodland. We have to be careful of things like making sure bracken or bramble doesn't become too dominant and strangle everything else. Also, we've seen that there's been a bit of natural regeneration of trees, which is good, because as well as planting trees, we're hoping to get a bit of natural recruitment from ordinary seeds of trees that you find in the woodland, and we've got a few of those coming through, and a bit of regeneration on some of the native trees that were cut down. Their stumps are regenerating, so it's all coming along nicely. So 50 years in the future, what we want to see is a nice, mature piece of woodland, lots of woodland ground flora that's full of ancient woodland species that show with a great degree of diversity, a good mix of age classes in the trees, which is an important thing to make sure there's a new recruitment coming through, that the woodland is sustaining itself and functioning ecologically normally.
We're here in an absolutely fantastic location. We've done some amazing work in the woodland, and this is a really, really good example of how we want to manage the Coal Authority's land, and potentially work with others to do the same on their land. This is an amazing woodland. We've done lots of replanting. We've been looking for wildflower species this morning. We found lots and lots just naturally regenerating, which is really nice to see. If you've got a contractor who knows really what they're doing, and is very sensitive to the location and the environment, you can create something that we've seen here this morning. So I think that's a really good lesson. But also, working with other landowners around us in partnership, we can achieve so much more. We've got what used to be a ancient semi-natural woodland. So the flower species are already in the soil. The seeds have just stayed in the soil, even though the other trees were planted on top of it. So what we're seeing is all of that old seed coming back to fruition, which is really nice to see. So yeah, we can learn a lot from taking what we've done here into tree planting schemes. I'd like to see more of this type of work happening if we can. So we've got some really, really nice sites. We've got obviously some very well-kept sites, and what we're trying to do is look for opportunities on those sites, however small. It might just be stopping mowing at the sides of tracks just to see what comes up, and we can allow that to sort of regenerate naturally. It's just building on that really good work, really, and taking it forward. This is a really, really great site because it really is an exemplar site to show what our nature recovery plan is all about. And our nature recovery plan is one of the key priorities in our 3-year sustainability plan that takes us to 2026. What's so great about this site is it integrates not only the nature and it's got a natural mine water treatment scheme on here as well, so kind of meeting those ambitions of net zero, but it also takes into account the social value aspect of our site, and these sort of sites are so important to the communities that are living and working here.